this before. So guys, I'm gonna watch him YouTube. You didn't have to cut me up. I miss watching too. I hear. Let's watch this.
Would you like to stay here?
Oh, no, I don't want to go to those.
For many gamers, seeing the credits roll at the end of a game is enough. Knowing you saved the beautiful dragon from the evil princess.
If I wanted
Pure serotonin. For others, however, games just aren't difficult, stressful, or long enough. These elite gamers go above and beyond, creating their own challenges and proving the impossible is possible. From no-jump Mario runs to building working computers in Minecraft, these are the gamers that achieve the unthinkable. One magical carp. One of the coolest things in the Pokemon games is the evolution mechanic. With enough experience points, your weak little turnip can transform into a mighty flower, or your tiny buff dude can turn into a bigger buff dude. Well, in 2019, one gamer by the name of JRose11 decided evolution made the games too easy, and that he was going to beat Pokemon Fire Red with a Magikarp. That's right, the ludicrously weak Pokemon whose only redeeming feature is that it evolves into a powerful Gyarados. Replacing his starter with a level 1 Magikarp using a mod, JRose began his punishing journey, and there were hurdles right out of the gate. For starters, Magikarp doesn't even learn an attack move until level 15. This means that the only way it can deal damage is to exhaust all 40 uses of Splash, a useless move that does nothing. You see, when a Pokemon uses up all its moves, it's able to use Struggle. Struggle does very little damage and harms the user, but for large chunks of the run, JRose has no choice but to rely on it. This is particularly arduous towards the start of the run because if JRose visits a Poké Center to heal, it also restores all 40 uses of Splash, meaning he must use them all up again before he can struggle. JRose previously attempted the challenge on the original Pokemon Red, but sadly realized it was impossible partway through. This is because in the original game, Struggle is a normal type move, and normal type moves cannot damage ghost Pokemon. And unfortunately for JRose, he found out all too late there are several unavoidable ghost battles in the game. In the remake, however, Struggle has no type and deals flat damage, so it can hurt ghosts. Before you go thinking that makes the run easy, however, consider JRose still has a terrible Pokemon with almost no useful moves and plenty of weaknesses. JRose even learns how Pokemon's stealth mechanics work so he can avoid difficult fights. Yeah, I didn't know this game had stealth mechanics either. In the end, despite being grossly overleveled, the final battle is ludicrously close. JRose manages to just barely beat the game's champion at level 99 with only 21 hit points remaining. Now that is a next level achievement. Speaking of leveling up, if you love playing video games in high quality, then you're gonna love this video's sponsor. Nreal Air are hyper-stylish augmented reality shades that allow you to plug in and game on a 201-inch mega screen. Of Zelda game Breath of the Wild without climbing once, so she was at home surmounting impossible odds. She accomplished this by using her environment, carefully stacking objects, and taking extremely long routes towards important goals. When she was faced with a mountain, she'd painstakingly try to sideways shimmy up the whole thing, stopping if it looked like Link was about to enter his climbing animation. Needless to say, after that experience, GameChamp was no stranger to coming up with clever solutions. So, returning to Mario, GameChamp realized that, for weird programming reasons, Mario Odyssey counts speaking to NPCs as jumping. She theorized that this is because when you press the A button to speak, the game flags it as a jump before the chat box appears, which cancels the jumping animation. Devastated, she started a second, lonelier run, talking to no one. After beating the game again, GameChamp returned to Toadette for a gut-wrenching revelation. She had apparently jumped one single time. Worst of all, this jump was unavoidable. This was because one cutscene in the game ends with Mario on the floor, and the only method of waking him up being, you guessed it, jumping. After composing herself, however, she thought of an ingenious solution. Multiplayer. In 2-player mode, another player can control Cappy. One thing Cappy can do is poke Mario, causing him to bounce into the air. And guess what? This bounce is not considered a jump. Tearfully, Game Champ completed her third and final run, proving you could beat the game without jumping. And Mario never has to worry about skipping leg day again. A far-fetched goal. Minecraft is a sandbox game that tasks players with creating anything from whatever they find laying around. And I mean anything. A treehouse? Sure thing. A giant toilet? Why not? An entire city? Hey, follow your dreams. In survival mode, players are dumped into a great big world and tasked with, well, surviving. The world is vast and algorithmically generated, creating more spaces and room to play than most will ever need. All algorithms have their limits, however, and in Minecraft that seems to be about 12.5 million blocks away from where the player first spawns. At this point, the terrain generated starts to become erratic and strange, defying the rigid rules that typically control what the world looks like. Players in the Minecraft community have dubbed these strange fringes the Farlands. Notch, the game's creator, commented that he thought it would be impossible to reach the Farlands without cheats or exploits, which gamer Kilo Crazy Man took as a personal challenge. In 2019, Kilo set out on his long journey into the deepest recesses of the Minecraft world. For 9 months, Kilo documented his adventure as he went, sometimes uploading multiple videos a day that were several hours long. The closer he got to his goal, the laggier the game became. This is likely because the game was being forced to spawn in and keep track of more terrain than it was ever expected to. On June 19, 2020, Kilo became the first gamer to legitimately step into the mysterious wonderland the game intended to keep hidden forever.
Yeah! Yeah, dude!
If each block roughly equates to a single step, and we assume the Minecraft avatar has an average height of 5'10", that means Kilo's journey to the Farlands would equate to over 5,705 miles. That's twice the distance from LA to New York. Pretty unfair his real-life step counter still reads 0 if you ask me. Emotional Damage Run. The Dark Souls trilogy is widely considered to be one of the toughest modern franchises in gaming. Known for the tight combat, tough bosses, and nefarious traps, it's likely most gamers will see the iconic "You Died" screen dozens of times on any given playthrough. That is, unless you're the Happy Hob, who in 2017 became the first person to complete each game in the franchise without taking a single hit. No, you heard me right. Not without dying, but without taking a single hit. If you've played these games, you know how nuts that is. Some of the bosses in the third game have many quick and unforgiving combos, and Dark Souls 2 in particular is a very long game with some less than desirable hitboxes. Look, that one had a tight development deadline. Let's not pick on it, okay? After accomplishing this staggering feat, Hob decided it wasn't enough and attempted something masochistic: to beat the 3 games hitless in succession. This means that if Hob got hit once, he had to go all the way back to the first game. And guess what? That happened several times. In one instance that is absolutely gut-wrenching to watch, during the final boss of the run, this happens.
No! Oh my God! No way! No way!
Man, and I thought Titanic was heartbreaking. After stepping away from the challenge, Hob returned a month later reinvigorated. He used numerous items that boosted his damage output based on having a light equipment load and low health, which makes sense. If you don't plan on getting hit after all, what use is armor? After 12 total grueling months of pain, Hob finally did it, becoming the first gamer to best the Notorious trilogy without so much as a stub toe. Of course, his cruel and sadistic audience couldn't let him have this victory for 5 minutes before asking him when he would do the same with Bloodborne, Sekiro, and Demon's Souls. Other games by Dark Souls developer colloquially referred to as the Soulsborne series. Eager to please and probably numb to the emotional pain at this point, Hob completed a 5-game run in 2019 and a full 6-game run in 2021.
Soulsborne no hit run! We did it!
The most festive holiday extravaganza extravaganza is back. It's Holiday Magic in Puyallup, presented.
I know Elden Ring came out recently, but please, people, he's had enough. An extreme Mario-thon. Speedrunning may be all about beating a game as quickly as possible, but as God-tier gamers Chrism and Value111 might tell you, that doesn't mean it's always quick. That's because at Summer Games Done Quick 2016, the two competed against each other in one of the most brutal competitions in all gaming, the 602 run. This gauntlet involves collecting every single star in Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, and Galaxy 2, one after the other, for a grand total of 602 stars. And shines, I guess. Mario Sunshine is weird. This run is, as you can probably imagine, vicious, and takes tens of hours. Playing any 4 games back to back is hard, but these are Mario games. These platformers have been optimized to death. There are dozens of precise, tricky maneuvers in each game that are essential for playing quickly, where one wrong input can cost minutes. And on top of all that, you have to do it knowing that another runner, just as good as you, is racing against you. The duel was nail-biting. Chrism was ahead for much of the run, but by hour 18 started to lag behind due to fatigue. Valu experienced a second win and doubled down, managing to bridge the gap between them. In the end, both players entered the final stage of Mario Galaxy 2 at almost the exact same time. The level is fittingly called The Perfect Run, and I can tell you from experience, it's hard. I've personally collected every star in Galaxy 2 except for this one. I simply couldn't do it. The level contains some of the most treacherous platforming Nintendo has ever devised, and to top it off, your health is reduced to 1, so one strike and you're out. Chrism and Valu, after over 21 hours in the gaming chair, began the level around the same time. They both dodged boomerangs, jumped clouds, and narrowly avoided lasers perfectly. In the end, Valu managed to win by just 5 seconds. Seriously, after 21 hours and 40 minutes of racing, 5 seconds decided the winner. Since then, the run has been further optimized, with gamer OddMe achieving a record of 19 hours and 57 minutes in 2020. Still, I think everyone should tip their emblazoned caps to Crimson and Value111 for their historic 2016 bout. That was one heck of a race, boys. Hello, Zelda, my old friend. If you've ever been a kid talking smack about your buddy's gaming skills on the schoolyard, you've probably said something along the lines of, "Oh yeah? Well, I could beat that game with my eyes closed." Perhaps you should put your money where your mouth is. Or where your eyes are? Either way, somebody did it. At Games Done Quick 2015, a speedrunner by the name of Runner Guy 2489 decided he was going to play the N64 classic Zelda Ocarina of Time blindfolded. That's right, for the entire run, Runner Guy wore a thick black blindfold and didn't peek out from under it once. Runner Guy relied heavily on 2 things. First off, his intimate knowledge and memory of it. He had run the game normally many times before, so knew its rhythm and pace well. Secondly, he listened carefully to audio cues. Certain sound effects trigger when monsters spawn in the overworld, when items become available for pickup, and when bosses are about to launch different attacks. Backflipping and sidestepping are also highly useful, as Link always moves a set distance when he performs them. It should be noted that at the event, Runner Guy didn't beat the whole game, instead completing only the dungeons you could beat as Child Link. This was because he didn't have enough time to practice an entire run, and the GDQ hosts were, I think fairly, skeptical it could be done without running over the allotted time slot. Since then, however, Runner Guy has completed the entire game blindfolded on his YouTube channel, and inspired other runners to do the same. In 2022, a runner by the name of Bubsy was even able to beat the game blindfolded in a blistering time of 35 minutes. Man, if I were Ganondorf, I'd find that pretty humiliating. Conquering Everest. EVE Online is a massive, strange beast. Famous for its comprehensive endgame economy based on real-world money, the game has virtual nightclubs that rake in hundreds of